idea. But also coming back to like the weird questions, like particularly when it comes to taxi drivers, we just touched on that. Do you get any weird ones like being parents? Like I always wondered, like, do you get weird and wonderful questions when you're parents and you have a disability?
Probably not so much, to be honest. But my son's like a foghorn, so he almost announces my disability for me wherever I go. Who are like walking to her room and be like, my mum is disabled, she's got a poorly back. So I never need to explain myself when I'm with him.
At least you don't have to save. You can save the energy because you can just point to him and go, "Can you explain this for me?"
It's taken a while to land on the right terminology for things. So when he found out that when we told him I was pregnant, he spent the first probably 4 weeks going around shouting, "My mum is giving birth," and I was like, "No, I'm not." Waiting for someone to call an ambulance for me. No, Frank, I'm not giving birth. So once we've got the terminology nailed, so now it's mum is having a baby and it's going to be cut out, is what he likes to tell people.
Oh, okay. It's a bit intense.
Yeah.
And I can imagine he says that point blank, no expression.
No instruction. He'll say it to people we don't even know. Like, he doesn't care. I think I've had some concern when people were first finding out that I was pregnant. There was a lot of, how are you going to manage? I was like, I just will. Like, you just have to, don't you? So there was a lot of kind of concern, like, it's going to be really hard. Like the head tilts and sympathy. But I just you just going to work around stuff I can't do.
Yeah, it's new to everyone, so that's people forget. It's like unless it's your. I mean, it is your second, but also there is extra layers to it as well that makes it very different to the last time. But then if it's your first time, none of you know what you're doing. Like no one, anyone.
Every child is different.
The best handbook in the world. Yeah.
Every child is so different. Yeah. So the first child can come out and be completely calm and quiet and sleep, and then the next one doesn't. And you could pose that question to any new parent. How are you going to cope? What are you going to do? Oh my God, do you know what you're letting yourself in for? And I think if any of us thought about it too much, no one would have children because they are a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been the consideration from me and Gina going, because the other thing that comes into it with everything that's going on at the moment is the cost. Like, whenever I think of having, like, maybe we'll have kids, it's like, the cost of it, no, thank you.
It's obscene. I mean, Frank's obviously been in school for 2 years now, but when he was in full-time childcare, we were paying, at one point, we were paying £1,020 a month for him to be with a childminder.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's equivalent to my mortgage. It is mind-blowing. And, trying to kind of balance that out and work out how we're going to do it. But, again, I think equally, if people spent too long thinking about how they're going to afford to have a child, no one would do it because it is terrifying.
Yeah, yeah.
And actually, once we'd had Frank and I started paying for childcare, I was like, what was I spending that grand on before? Like, why was I not drinking champagne? And I don't understand. I'm suddenly spending this money on childcare, but I'm sure I wasn't minted. And that takes very minimal effort. So that was in the past. So I was always kind of like, interested in kind of what was out there. And then I got more and more into kind of fashion and kind of styling and making my own clothes.